California's Golden Parks is made possible by Toyota, who is committed to keeping the air clean at all our beautiful parks with its hybrid Synergy Drive technology. In vehicles like the innovative Prius, Highlander Hybrid, and the Camry Hybrid, lower emissions and higher gas mileage help hybrid Synergy Drive vehicles create a minimal impact on the environment. So take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy another one of California's Golden Parks.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell, and here we are on this absolutely beautiful morning. We're in Northern California in Shasta County, about 12 miles west of Redding. And we have come to a very interesting place, the Whiskeytown National Recreation Area. And we've been greeted here by Russ Weatherby, who's a biologist with the National Park Service. Russ, you're going to be with us all day. We've been talking for about a year about me coming up here because something very exciting happened up here about a year ago. But before we get to that, let's talk for just a minute about something that happened very exciting here just a little over 40 years ago, back in 1963. And what was that?
Well, in 1963, Whiskeytown Dam was nearing completion, and they were getting ready to fill the lake, or they had just filled the lake, and John F. Kennedy came out to dedicate the dam.
So you got President Kennedy here to dedicate the dam. That must have been a huge deal.
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal. There was a huge celebration. There were a lot of people in this area, and people came from a long ways away to see it.
And you've got this little plaque set up here, the Kennedy Memorial Plaque, donated by a committee of citizens from Redding. And it's a nice kind of a commemoration. And then look what we got right over here. Whiskeytown Dam was dedicated by President John F. Kennedy on September 28, 1963 at this site. And then you can press a button.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate the chance to be here in Whiskeytown and to say a few words from this distinguished community.
I hate to interrupt him, but he goes on for a while, doesn't he?
He does.
So that's a tape. Come on, that's a tape that was taken at this site on that day, and it would have happened right over here. The pictures we have of it, there was a huge crowd. There was a podium set up right here. The president, you say, arrived by helicopter?
I believe so. There were helicopters on the dam in the photos. I believe that was the case.
Well, you probably weren't even born when that happened, were you?
I wasn't.
Well, I was born then, but I wasn't here. But look at what we got right here. We've got this absolutely beautiful view of, now we're looking out at Whiskeytown Lake, right?
Correct.
And how big a lake are we looking at? Because it's absolutely spectacular.
It's 3,200 acres.
Is that a big lake? Is that...
It's a pretty good sized lake, but compared to some of the other lakes in our area, Shasta Lake is about 36,000 acres, so it's not nearly as big as Shasta Lake.
Is this a good fishing lake? Is this a good swimming lake? Is this a good water skiing lake?
All the above.
Yeah.
It's probably underutilized as far as fishing. Some of the other lakes get a little more fishing, but it does have excellent fishing.
Yeah, and we're standing here looking at what they call the glory hole right out here, which you say is just kind of a way to take off some of the water in case it gets flooded.
Yeah, in the event we get heavy rains or runoff and they can't take the water out through the Spring Creek Tunnel or underneath the dam to generate power, the Morning Glory spillway comes into play, and it only happens about once every 4 years or so. It doesn't happen very often.
It's called the Morning...
It's a Morning Glory spillway, but it's locally referred to as the Glory Hole.
Why is it called the Morning Glory?
Because if you look at a cross section, or if you could see the whole system, it would look like a Morning Glory flower.
Ah, I got you. Okay, and then let's just walk right over here because this kind of gives you a shot. We're looking at Whiskeytown Dam right here. What kind of a dam is this?
It's an earth-fill dam.
Is it a big, it's not a, well, it doesn't look very big on this side, but the height, you can really see it now. The height comes in over here. You can see how big a dam this really is.
Yeah, it's pretty good size.
All right, we're ready for the trip. This was just kind of the way to kind of set the stage as to where we are. We're not going to tell you yet exactly why we're here, but it's very exciting, and we're going to be spending the whole day right here in Shasta County at Whiskeytown National Recreation Area, which is definitely one of California's golden parks.
I love you, California. You're the greatest state of all. I love you in the winter, summer, spring, and in the fall.
The Whiskeytown National Recreation Area consists of over 42,000 acres. All kinds of beautiful terrain. We've come quite a distance from where we started this adventure earlier today. We got the mountains, we got the clear water, and we're standing on this little bridge here, Carol. We've hooked up with Ranger Carol Jandrell, who is going to start us off here. We started where Kennedy dedicated the dam back in 1963. There's a lot of natural wonder to this recreation area, but there's a lot of human history here as well, and that's what you're going to show us right down here.
That's correct. There is a lot of beautiful history here at Whiskeytown, but the historic and the cultural resources are just as great here.
Now look at where we're walking right here, just through these trees. This is absolutely spectacular here. These trees, though, look like they were planted like this.
Well, actually, these trees are natural. This area was referred to as an oasis in the desert for travelers that would come through this area. They'd go up the hot, dusty area, which is now where the lake covers, and then they'd come through here where there's 3 creeks and all these beautiful oaks, and it would just be gorgeous for them in a nice shady oasis.
Wow, this is planted in a, well, nature planted it in a nice way right here. But look what we've got right over here. Human habitation, and that's an interesting part of this story. Tell us what we're looking at right here.
Well, right now you are looking at what's known as Charles Camden's house. Charles Camden and his partner Levi Tower came to this area during the California Gold Rush in the 1850s. Charles Camden built this house and settled in this area and lived here for over 50 years.
Now, when he lived here, he was out in the middle of nowhere.
Definitely out in the middle of nowhere. The closest town would have been 12 miles just to the east of us in the town of Shasta.
Now, this is a historic landmark. It's part of the recreation area.
This is a National Historic Landmark, and it is part of Whiskeytown National Recreation Area, kind of a little unknown jewel compared to the lake.
And what goes on here at this house?
Well, this is a significant part to Whiskeytown and to the National Park Service. We interpret the California Gold Rush here. People still come gold panning on the creeks and the streams, but the significance of the house is the significance of Charles Camden, who came out here in his 30s looking for gold, and he actually is one of the fortunate ones because he found his fortune in gold, pulling over $80,000 worth of gold out of Clear Creek.
Just right around here.
Just right in this area.
Is there still gold here?
There is still gold in this area to be found, and if you come on one of our panning programs, you just might find your fortune.
Now, are there any other houses or structures or anything around here, or is this it?
Well, there actually is a caretaker's home that's also historic. That is just about a half mile from here. But other than that, for about 2 miles, there's nothing much out here except for this house.
Well, I hear cars going by right here. This is the main highway out here.
You're exactly right, and during the California Gold Rush, this was also the main route. This was the main route to get to Oregon or to get to the coast. And as time went by, I guess the road got a little improved from a trail to dirt to pavement to a highway to what it is now.
Has it been designated a historical area?
Yes, it's a National Register of Historic Places.
Wow.
In the 1970s. As I said, this house, 1852, it's the oldest house in Shasta County.
Wait a minute, that is the oldest house in Shasta County?
Yes, it is.
I would think the oldest house would be an old adobe or something like that. This is a wooden house.
It is a wooden house. Started out as a one-bedroom house for Charles Camden and his wife, and as his wealth grew and he married and he had 3 children, his house grew in several different stages throughout the 50 years that he lived here.
Now, as the adventure continues, we are following Russ down this gravel road through another beautiful part of this recreation area. He's taken us to a place that, again, is a little off the beaten track and has some scenic beauty and I think some history to it as well. This is barely much more than a wide path we're going down, but it's got gravel on it, and it's going to take us back into the wilderness here. All right, now we came here on purpose because you wanted to show us this waterfall here. What is the name of this waterfall?
This is Crystal Creek Falls.
And tell us a little bit about it, because I don't know anything about what we're looking at right here.
Well, actually, it's very scenic, but a lot of people don't know this was actually created by the Bureau of Reclamation. When they built the tunnel between Lewiston Dam and Whiskeytown Dam that supplies Whiskeytown with most of its water, they needed a release point. In the event they needed to dewater the tunnel without taking water through the powerhouse, they built a valve here to dewater that tunnel. To build this valve area, they needed to reroute the creek. The creek, my understanding, was historically came down through here. They rerouted it here and basically made a man-made waterfall.
So wait a minute, this is an artificial waterfall out here in the middle of this beautiful scenic area.
That's my understanding.
Well, that's okay, it's still beautiful.
It is.
And it's called Crystal Falls.
Crystal Creek Falls.
Crystal Creek Falls. Now, there are a number of falls here in the recreation area, aren't there, that people have known about for years? Aren't there 2 or 3 others?
Yeah, there's large waterfalls on Boulder Creek, and there's a pretty good sized waterfall on Brandy Creek as well.
Okay, so people come here to, oh look, there are people down there sitting on the rocks down by the water.
Yeah, it's nice and cool down there.
Wow, so people can swim in this area too?
You can, I don't, it's too cold.
This water is coming from snow, right?
Most of it. This time of year is coming from snow melt off and groundwater.
About what, 50 degrees?
I don't know the exact temperature, but I think 50 is probably on the high end.
Yeah, it's cold. All right, we're going to stand here and take a look at Crystal Creek Falls.
Correct.
And then we're gonna start a hike to another place in the recreation area that has recently been rediscovered. We don't want to talk much about it right now. We'll talk about it as we're taking our hike. Okay. But we're getting ready to go to a wonderful place deep inside the Whiskeytown National Recreation Area. But before we leave, let's take one more look at these beautiful falls that are not completely natural, but you'd never know it standing here looking at them. It's a beautiful way to start our hike in search of the recently rediscovered falls. Leaving Crystal Falls, Russ and I started our hike deep into the forest. Our destination was a long-lost but recently rediscovered huge waterfall. Now, I was excited about seeing this waterfall, but just getting to it ended up being quite an adventure. Howdy, how you doing? Oh boy, they're having fun out on the trail. Where have you all been? Where have you been?
Up to the Whiskeytown Falls Trail.
To the new, have you been to the new waterfall?
We have. Spectacular.
So it's worth the hike that we're taking.
Yeah. Worth the hike.
Believe it, it's worth it.
Wow, had you ever seen them before?
Never, first time.
So how did you know exactly where to go? Who's in charge of this group?
Oh, we had a guided tour.
Had a professional guide.
Jim Milestone.
Who's he?
He's the director of Whiskeytown.
Oh, he's the superintendent. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Where is he?
You'll catch him just up ahead.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
he's not very
good.
far.
Well, let's go down here. This is the VIP tour here. Howdy. Are you the superintendent?
I am, Jim Milestone.
How come we missed your tour?
Well, yeah, I'm going to take you on it right now.
Oh, because Russ has been walking us down here, and this is just absolutely spectacular.
Good, I'm glad you're here.
What an amazing recreation area you have here.
It's a beautiful park.
Yeah, and I know that to the locals it's not hidden, but I think to the rest of California, somehow or another, it's off the map somehow or another.
Yeah, I agree, but it's people are discovering Whiskeytown National Recreation Area, and we get about 700,000 visitors a year here.
Really?
About 350,000 of them jump in the lake. The rest of them are out here on the trails.
Hiking.
Yeah, hiking. And
well, we saw the historic district this morning, which is beautiful.
Great,
and
the Camden House.
Yeah. So there's a lot to see and do here.
Oh yeah, there is. And this has become a premier area for a lot of the human-powered recreation, like kayaking. Mountain biking is very popular here, and of course hiking. So And swimming, a lot of people do enjoy long distance swimming, and
Yeah.
we have a lot of trail runners here in the park too. People love to come out and run on the trails.
There's a lot going on.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Well, thank you very much.
Good meeting you.
Hey, this is exciting. Here's your boss, Russ.
Here's Russ Weatherby, the man who discovered Whiskeytown Falls.
Now that's where we're going. We
Yeah.
really haven't given it away until now, but we will in just a moment. Are they going on without you?
Well,
Or
I'm going to say goodbye to them in a minute here, but
can you
yeah.
stick with us?
Yeah, I am.
Oh,
I'm gonna,
great.
yeah.
Goodbye. You think
Happy trails.
You think they can make it back on their
I
own?
think they can.
I hope so. All right, and now we're going to continue our hike. We're crossing the stream on this amazing little bridge. Look at this. I guess there are things like this all along the trail, aren't there?
Yeah, this is the main stem of Crystal Creek that we're hiking down, and we're going to go around the corner past Cougar Rock, and that's where the East Fork of Crystal Creek comes into this stream, and we're going to follow the East Fork up to Whiskeytown Falls.
So far we've been going down. When do we start going up?
Right now. It's uphill from here on.
I had a funny feeling. Look, here it is. It's gradual, but uh-oh, it gets pretty steep right down here, doesn't it? Come on, Russ. I'm sweating through my shirt, but we've passed the point of no return. We're over halfway there, and we've reached a point on the trail that the superintendent wants to show us, and it'll allow us to stop for a minute too. What are we looking at here, sir?
This is called Wintu View, and the Wintus are the Native Americans that live here on this land for over 7,000 years. And we're looking up into the Box Canyon, and this is where the waterfall comes down at the end of this canyon. And we're looking up into the old growth forests. Some of these Douglas fir and sugar pines date back to as early as 1629.
1629?
Pilgrim time.
Wow, and most of this land was logged, so we're seeing second growth down here. The old growth is up on the top.
Right.
Boy, this is absolutely beautiful. Look how the clouds have come in. Let's just step out of the way for a clear shot at this. Wintu View up here high in the mountains. What are we, about 3,000 feet?
Just about 3,000 feet here.
Boy, it's just beautiful looking out at these trees. And you can still hear the water, and that's where we're heading. This is the kind of hiking I like to do. And you know what? The temperature has suddenly dropped about 10 degrees, 15 degrees. Is it just because of the water?
The ice cold water, and we're in this top of the Box Canyon, and we're in an inversion. And this is the riparian environment of the stream. And so from here to the waterfall, it's going to be very cool and moist, very enjoyable.
And everything's covered with moss, and this water looks clean enough to drink.
Almost, yeah, I wouldn't, but it's a pristine stream.
Yeah.
And this is what the national parks are all about. You know, very authentic. This is primitive America that you see here.
Okay, we have reached our final destination, and the hike was well worth it. Jim, I guess now it's time to tell the story behind these lost falls, the lost Whiskeytown Falls.
Well, back in 1965, when the park was created, this was private property, and it had been logged back in the late 1950s and early 60s. And a few loggers had been up here and probably seen the falls, but there was no record of it. And the family sold the property to the National Park Service, and two young rangers, Jack Holland and Henry LaSala, came up to check on this new piece of property that was added to the park. And they came upon this waterfall in 1968. And they went back to the superintendent of the park, Leon Mitchell, and they said, "Leon, we found this giant waterfall." And they all decided to keep it quiet because they said at the time they didn't want the hippies and the beatniks to trash the place. So it laid here pretty quiet, and Leon Mitchell passed away, and Henry LaSala and Jack Holland went on to other national parks for their careers.
So
and
it kind of fell into a black hole. People forgot about it.
It did, and then as the staff of the park built up over the next 30 years, none of them had ever been here nor knew about it. And so this stayed quiet until finally Russ Weatherby, his curiosity, led him to rediscover Whiskeytown Falls.
Now, why did you want to rediscover them? How did you even know about them?
Well, I'd heard rumors from around town that there was a big waterfall on Crystal Creek, and Brian Rasmussen, the park geologist, and myself were looking at some maps one day and found an area that we thought looked like there was a very steep terrain and the creek flowed through it. And we looked on some aerial imagery and seen what we thought could be a waterfall. And we also had an old planning map from the Park Service that had a dot showing a waterfall. And the next drainage over, which we had checked that area already, knew there wasn't one there, so we decided to hike in here and see if it was here.
And when you hiked in here, there were no trails like we were on today. You were hiking over totally uncharted terrain.
For the most part, we just decided to hike cross-country across the ridge, and there were a couple logging roads we were able to use, and there was snow on the ridge, so it took us quite a while to get in here, and we were pretty tired.
But you found the falls, and you came up on them, you said, up on the top.
Yeah, we came over the ridge from the east, so we ended up on the very top.
And can you remember how you felt when you discovered these lost falls?
Well, we were excited to finally find them, and we were tired.
Russ is kind of low-key.
He is.
You know, I think if I was describing finding these things, I would just be beside myself because, you know, except for a few locals who had hiked back here, I bet you there weren't over 50 people alive today who know about these falls.
Yeah, when we made the big announcement last July, there was folks that came out and said I had been up there about 10 years ago, but really only a handful of people. And when Russ came into my office that day and told me that he thought that that there was a giant waterfall in the park, I told him, I said, Russ, go find it. I want to see this. And when he came back with Brian and they announced that they had discovered it, we quickly got up here as soon as we could to see it. I was pretty excited.
And this made news. It was in the New York Times. It was in the San Francisco Chronicle. I read about it in the LA Times.
Right.
This was world-shaking news.
It was covered by CNN, and it went all around the world. It was reported in papers in Germany, Finland, in the Far East. So it was big news.
So they're called the Whiskeytown Falls,
right.
i.e. the Lost Waterfall.
The Hidden Falls.
The Hidden Falls. And what's interesting when you look at it here, this is the upper fall right here.
Right.
Right down here is what you call the Middle Falls.
Right.
And then there's the Lower Falls, which we're going to end up at down there. So this has the distinction of being the
tallest waterfall in Shasta County.
The tallest waterfall in Shasta County, and that's saying something because there's some beautiful waterfalls here.
Oh, it's gorgeous here, and it's
how tall is this?
220 feet high, according to Russ's measurements.
Did you measure it too?
We measured it fairly crudely with a clinometer and a laser rangefinder, but it's probably within, you know, it's close.
You know, if it hadn't been for you, it'd still be lost.
You never know.
He's modest.
He is.
But he's a real explorer.
Oh,
they came out here and rediscovered all of this.
That's right. You know, with 37 million people in California, to have something like this hidden, thank God it was found in a national park, because now the trail, everyone can come up and see it. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience.
We got 3 guys here with shovels and picks, and you're doing this whole trail. You're carving it out of nothing.
Well, we've had some good help from the park here. We've got excellent tools, and we've got plenty of strong men here, and dedication, and the will and the want to do this.
Yeah, but you're basically, I don't know whether the camera can see it or not, but you built the steps and put up the rails in order for people to get here. There was nothing here
there was nothing here to grab a hold of until we got here, and we started what we call baby steps, little baby steps and safety steps, just doing a little bit at a time. It's just like climbing up the stairs when you was a little kid.
Well, how do you feel opening up something like this and making it possible for people like us to come enjoy this?
It's a rewarding thing. because it adds beauty to where we didn't know we had beauty, and it makes it so the park can have a place where somebody can go and enjoy themselves.
Did you know this was here?
No, I didn't. I did not know.
Well, congratulations to you and to the other fellas. Congratulations. They're the ones cutting out the trail for all of us to get up here and see this waterfall.
Huell, in the wintertime, that log is covered with icicles, long icicles, and this canyon is filled with snow. It's absolutely beautiful.
So this is open to the public all year round, and this trail, the James Carr Trail that we hiked in on today, is really, you use the word iconic, because it is an iconic trail for the people of California.
Right. We believe this is a major tourist attraction for Shasta County, the city of Redding, and also for Whiskeytown National Recreation Area. And we want to make this an iconic trail for the national parks. And so that when people come up here, they feel invited and it's a safe trail. That's why our trail crew has spent so much time making this railing and the stone steps, and really give people a natural experience of primitive America.
Well, the whole National Recreation Area is spectacular, but this is the cream of the crop, the icing on top of the cake right here, this amazing waterfall, Whiskeytown Falls. Kind of fell through the cracks there for a few years, but now it's back on the map, and it's back here for all of us to hike to and enjoy. These hidden waterfalls, beautiful in this National Recreation Area, definitely part of one of California's golden parks. Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed our adventure in search of the lost but recently rediscovered waterfall at Whiskeytown National Recreation Area. If you'd like to go on this adventure again, share it with family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library. It's available on video cassette and on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.
This presentation of California's Golden Parks was made possible by Toyota, who wants you to get out and see these incredible parks for yourself. Toyota is committed to preserving their natural beauty with its hybrid synergy drive technology in vehicles like the Prius, Highlander Hybrid, and Camry Hybrid. Lower emissions and higher gas mileage help hybrid synergy drive vehicles have a minimal impact on our natural wonders. We'll see you next time on California's Golden Parks.